We have three main focuses in our group, and our group is called Changing Places. It's one of the 26 research groups at the Media Lab. We're looking at reinventing mobility systems. We're looking at cities without private automobiles that have shared use vehicles, new types of vehicles that are optimized for high density cities that occupy very little space when they're parked and stored, that use very little energy, that encourage people to get more exercise, and that are shared use. So it's interesting that a shared vehicle like Boston Hubway or Zipcar, for example, you can serve maybe 4 or 5 times as many people with one vehicle, because one vehicle, serves many people throughout the course of the day. The city car, for example, that we have just completed and turned over for commercialization, folds and occupies 1/7 of the space when it's parked, if it was autonomously parked and folded. So if you combine the shared use, 4 times the utilization rate, 7 times the parking efficiency, you come up with something like 28-fold increase in the utilization, with respect to land use. City Car was a project that Bill Mitchell started many years ago. He was our former dean. He died a couple of years ago, so that was one of the projects I inherited. It's a tiny little urban electric vehicle, or more accurately, an electronic vehicle, that combines 4 innovations. It has robot wheels that have the drive motor, steering motor, braking, suspension, all in one package. It just snaps onto the chassis of the vehicle, so each are independently controlled. The second is drive-by-wire, so there's no mechanical linkage between your steering, for example, and the control of the wheels. It's all electronic, like a modern airliner. It folds up, so when it folds, it occupies less space than a smart car. And it has one big front door that opens up, so you step directly out of the vehicle from a near standing position when it's folded. So in other words, you can go directly into a curb. There's no parallel parking. In fact, there's no reverse, because when the car is folded, it'll spin. So you can go in reverse, but you don't need reverse. You just spin it and go directly in. You can go directly into the curb. The front door opens. You step out on the curb, and on a parallel parking scenario, you can get about 3.5 cars to a conventional car on the street. Another area is we're also interested in urban housing. So we think you can effectively do the same thing with housing. You can design a space which is much smaller than a conventional apartment, but you introduce transformable elements, so walls that can translate and can transform such that a relatively small apartment functions as if it was twice as big. So you can take an apartment the size of a 1-bedroom, you can open it all up and have a party space or a dance studio. You can convert it into a workspace for your virtual companies, and your employees can come in during the day. Maybe a 1-bedroom can accommodate 8 people working during the day. It can convert to a sleeping area for the residents and guests, so it has 2 bedrooms. You can open the space up with a large table, so you can have a dinner party for 14, 16 people. So we think that just like the city car has a much higher utilization rate, we can have these, what we call city homes, these high-density transformable urban apartments that function as if they were much larger, but actually use a fraction of the resources. The third is technology. So both vehicles and the places where we live and work, we think, need to be much more responsive to what people are doing. You hear a lot about smart homes, but basically all smart homes are dumb homes. They don't, in that they don't really know what people are doing. They can't predict what people might do. There's no responsiveness. There's no awareness of where people are and what they're doing. And so we've developed technology that can understand where people are and what they're doing, and for example, lighting systems that can be dynamically adjusted according to your activities. You know, both the color, temperature, the intensity of the light can change as you move around the apartment or the workplace. We have a project that was quite fun that we think of as personalized sunlight. So it's an articulating mirror at the facade of a building which can throw shafts of sunlight deep into the space. And you can map that location of that shaft of sunlight to your activity. For example, if you're working in the kitchen at the island, you can put a shaft of sunlight directly above you. And an algorithm will keep the sunlight in that position as the sun moves through the sky, as long as it's above the horizon. And then as you transition to another activity, if you choose, that beam of sunlight can follow you. So you combine this personalized sunlight with personalized tunable 24-bit color LED lighting, and you end up with a whole new way of relating to your environment with respect to lighting.